But what we're also learning is that there are reports that Chrystia Freeland has also been reaching out to Liberal MPs as speculation continues to swirl around Trudeau's future and who might replace her, or him, I should say. What do you make of the fact that there are these reports that she's been reaching out to other MPs?
So even experts now are saying that Justin Trudeau will not politically survive past the end of this year. In fact, most experts are saying that an election is going to happen in the first few months of 2025. But let me know down in the comments if you guys think that it will happen in the first few months or if it will happen at the end as per the scheduled federal election in October of 2025. So we're taking a look at that, as well as teenagers in Canada are now trying to join ISIS, but police are stopping them and arresting them before they can do that. So that's something to be very much concerned about. And we're going to be taking a look at some other stories as well. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage you all to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It does really help grow the channel. We're super close to 440,000 subscribers, and it'd be pretty sweet if we got there today or early new year. Without further ado, let's start off with the polls. You've got Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives sitting at 232 projected seats still, with a bottom line of 206. They still only need 172 seats for a majority government. So it's still looking like it's going to be a very clear sweep, a conservative sweep like we've never seen in this country before. Justin Trudeau is sitting down there with 39 projected seats, and Jagmeet Singh trailing right behind with 25. I do think that they are going to flip-flop in the coming weeks leading into this early election. 99% likely across the board for the Conservatives of winning the most seats in office of a majority government. So if you ever hear Jagmeet Singh talk about how he's going to be Canada's next prime minister, I don't know how he's going to get past the 99% likelihood of the Conservatives not only winning, but getting a majority government. So I don't know what he's smoking, but I'll take 5. Now let's take a look here at what Don Cherry has to say about Team Canada getting the boot from the juniors. Don't be too hard on the kids. They tried their best. They seemed tight all tournament. Hockey Canada has to get with it and hire full-time coaches for the World Juniors under 18, under 17, and get some consistency. That's because Canada just got kicked out by, I think, Czech, which is, I mean, it's kind of concerning. Like back in the day, man, Canada was the hockey king. We were the king of hockey around the world, and it seems like we've lost a little bit of that. And if we don't have hockey, I don't know what else we have. But we've got a lot of this right here. Food bank usage surges to new heights in 2024, with 3.49 million clients being served. Feed Ontario, probably fine. As you can see here, as time has gone on, you go back to the year 2000, it's right next to my camera, basically. So around 500,000 people, and now it's at 3.5 million. So that's obviously something to be very, very concerned about. That has a direct correlation to cost of living, circumstances of shitty government, bad policies, forcing people to go to food banks. And then here, the lazy Canadian investor says the number of Canadians with at least $1 million liquid cash and investments in 2023. And you can see the biggest would be New York City with almost 500,000 people. And then Toronto is down there with 106,000 people in city of Toronto in 2023 with $1 million liquid. And since we have rolled over into the new year and we are talking about money, it's a good reminder for those that do have the ability to contribute to their TFSA and to maybe their kids' RESP, that it is a new year and your contribution limits have gone up, right? I think it's like $7,000 for the TFSA. So keep that in mind if you do have the means, of course. Then the Liberal Party here is having a meltdown over the Pierre Poilievre and Jordan Peterson podcast. So Poilievre just went on a podcast sponsored by anti-abortion group. New year, same anti-choice conservatives. Of course, this is because in the description or in the thread tweet or whatever it's called on X, Jordan Peterson posted the full video here and obviously the link to the sponsor. Preborn helps save 11,000 babies from abortion. There you go. And so I don't know why they are having a meltdown over that. It's like they can't fathom people wanting kids to exist in the world, and abortion. I don't get it. I have kids, and it breaks my heart. I've been like very silent about that my entire life, about the abortion stance. It's like a woman's body, her right to choose, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm like, yeah, but like kids' life is very precious, and just resulting to abortion, especially in Canada, the term limits are insane. I mean, you can do it right up until it's 8 months pregnant. Like it's craziness what's going on. So yeah, I don't think anyone's fallen for that bait. And speaking of bait, here you have Justin Trudeau's mom, who's recirculating old footage. Is coming back up. Trudeau's mother, Margaret Trudeau, explains why her marriage with Justin's father broke down.
My marriage was broken down because we had a Catholic marriage based on the old-fashioned principle of fidelity, and I was unfaithful, and therefore our marriage was over.
And there you go. She was unfaithful. And so when it comes into question who she was unfaithful with, I mean, all signs are leading to that right there. Look at the resemblance. My goodness gracious. They are just friggin' identical. So more proof that Justin Trudeau's father is actually from Cuba. Next up here, we're taking a look at a Toronto area teen that was arrested for an alleged plan to join ISIS. I can't believe this. It's a real thing, though.
Well, here at home, authorities have arrested a Toronto area teen on suspicion he was planning to travel abroad to join ISIS. It comes amid recent arrests in Canada tied to the terrorist group. CBC's Caroline Bargout has more.
There are very few details in this case, which is under a publication ban. That's because the man was a teenager when police allege he planned to leave Canada to join ISIS. He's 18 years old now and is from Newmarket, Ontario. He isn't facing terrorism charges, but last month, RCMP applied for a terrorism peace bond, which would restrict his movements. Now, peace bonds are court orders that can be issued against people if it is believed they are likely going to commit a crime, but there's no evidence to suggest that they've already committed a crime. They come with strict conditions and could be in effect for 12 months. If the person keeps the peace, they won't face charges. This is the third case in the past 6 months that RCMP have accused someone in Ontario of having an ISIS connection. In July, a father and son, Ahmed and Mustafa El-Didi, were arrested and charged in connection with an alleged violent plot involving an axe and a machete. The elder El-Didi now faces war crimes charges after he was allegedly seen dismembering a man in a 2015 ISIS propaganda video that was recorded in Iraq. In September, the RCMP arrested Mohammed Shehzab Khan in Quebec near the U.S. border. He's a Pakistani citizen living in Mississauga, Ontario. Now, investigators allege Khan was en route to New York City to carry out a mass shooting at a Jewish center. As for the 18-year-old, he was released on a $2,000 bond and is expected to be back in court mid-January. Caroline Bargout, CBC News, Toronto.
Oh my goodness. I mean, this is super concerning, right? Why are people like this? And why is that even allowed in Canada? First of all, where are they getting the recruitment notice for ISIS? This is Canada. We're supposed to be against terrorism. We're supposed to be peacekeepers. So this doesn't make any sense. Obviously, there's a leak in national security that's allowed this to happen. Lack of proper immigration policies and just, regulation around there, allowing not good people to come into this country and brainwash people or cause acts of terrorism that we've seen in the past. I mean, it's getting out of control, folks. It's absolutely getting out of control, which is why we need an election sooner than later so we can start to crack down on this stuff, right? Jail, not bail. Remember that policy that the Conservatives want to implement? Yeah, I think most Canadians are now on board with that. And next up, we're going to take a look here at mainstream media and how they're saying, hey, this is the end of Trudeau. Like, it really is. He's not going to survive politically the end of this year. Let's take a look here at the video.
Here in Canada, we want to bring on Alex Marland, a political science professor at Acadia University, joining us this morning in Halifax. Thank you very much for being with us.
Good morning.
So Marco Mendicino covered a lot of ground in that letter, thanked a whole lot of people, and one name he did not include at all was Justin Trudeau. What do you make of that?
Well, I don't make anything of that particular incident because he was dropped out of cabinet, so it's not a big surprise that he would be a bit frustrated. And it's also not unusual to find that there will be all sorts of MPs and possibly even some ministers who are going to be announcing that they're not running again in the next election. That's very normal after the holiday break. I think the real thing here is what's going on with Justin Trudeau. So I think, from my perspective, everything that's going on in Ottawa, it doesn't matter what party you're with, everybody is going to be talking about Justin Trudeau's future.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Liberals are certainly continuing to talk about Justin Trudeau's future. We know that. There are reports today that senior Liberal MPs are in fact meeting there to discuss ways to pressure Trudeau to reveal his future. What do you make of that meeting going on?
Well, before we even think about that, I think it's important to acknowledge that Justin Trudeau is a very unique politician. He's a very clever guy. He knows how the media works. He knows how politics works. Because of that, he would be extremely sensitive to the fact that he's losing control of the Liberal caucus. And anytime any leader, especially a prime minister or a premier, loses control of the caucus, their time is going to run out as leader. So the very fact that we have news about all these Liberal MPs calling on the prime minister to step aside, the fact that they have caucus meetings happening where they are actively talking about what can we do, who should we replace him with, how should this work, and now we have media reports about how the leaders of these regional caucuses, which are quite powerful entities, are going to have a conversation today about Justin Trudeau and what to do about him, really tells you that Justin Trudeau is losing control of the Liberal Party that he has had his hands all over for so long.
Right, but we have been talking about this for weeks and weeks. And I mean, it's been quite a while since the Atlantic caucus members came forward and said that he should step down. So how is all of this kind of coming together?
It's been quite some while. What do you mean? That was like last week, earlier this week. What are you talking about? Quite some time. And then the Quebec MPs, the Quebec Liberals also came forward and said the exact same thing. This all just happened recently. I mean, I know they've been doing this for quite some time, but there was just the most recent one where they said, we're not asking for Trudeau to resign. We're going to the board of directors. That just freaking happened, man. It's every single day. That's the thing about what's going on with Justin Trudeau. It's every day. There's something new. A new MP leaves, right? Marco Mendicino, he got booted out of cabinet last year. He's still, well, that's Trudeau's inner circle, right? That's what Freeland just left. She stayed on as an MP, but she left cabinet, right? So Marco Mendicino got booted out of cabinet, but he stayed on as a Liberal MP. Still somewhat loyal to Justin Trudeau, propped him up, supported his shtick, but now he's saying, I'm resigning. And people, this is happening every single day, folks. This isn't normal. This is not the normal political landscape for any functioning country. What's happening right now is total chaos, and I can't help but smile because it's all one-sided. Even the NDP they got their shit together. I gotta say, even the Bloc Québécois, they kind of got their shit together. It's very tight-knit. But the Liberals, oh my goodness, you're like a hero when you resign, which, to be honest, probably isn't a bad mentality to have right now. If more and more of them just simultaneously coordinated a resignation, a mass resignation, that would speak volume. That would actually change the landscape in Canada, politically speaking, tremendously.
And further pressuring the Prime Minister to step aside. Is there any other potential option here in the near future?
Well, I mean, I think we shouldn't underestimate a prime minister's ability to use the levers of power to stay on. And so, there's some talk about proroguing Parliament to be able to get some breathing space. There have been instances, John Diefenbaker comes to mind many years ago, where you can get the prime minister to rally the troops. All of a sudden, all these nervous Nellies, as Jean Chrétien called them, can change their mind simply by listening to the confidence and enthusiasm of the leader. Now, that being said, it seems that we've gone past that point, and one big part of that is recent public opinion polls, which have the Liberals down in depths that party has not known. And so, you can try to rally the troops, you can try to buy more time, but the reality is that we're heading into an election year, and so what's happening is there are all sorts of Liberal MPs who are worried about their own political jobs, and once that happens, it's really tough to convince people that you should remain as leader.
Well, and you talk about how Trudeau is likely trying to rally support around him, trying to stay on as leader. Perhaps he is doing so. But what we're also learning is that there are reports that Chrystia Freeland has also been reaching out to Liberal MPs as speculation continues to swirl around Trudeau's future and who might replace her, or him, I should say. What do you make of the fact that there are these reports that she's been reaching out to other MPs?
Holy crap. We didn't know this. This is new information. Chrystia Freeland's going behind Trudeau's back. We don't know what they're even talking about. Oh my goodness, the plot thickens.
Well, I think what's really interesting is that we're not hearing reports that Justin Trudeau is the one reaching out to MPs. And so if he was the one who was making all these calls and we were hearing about this, what we would get a sense of is this is a prime minister who's fighting for his job and trying to persuade people to give him more time to stay on. But we're not hearing those news reports. Instead, what we're hearing is Chrystia Freeland, who in some ways has turned into a political rival of Justin Trudeau's. She's the one who's trying to shore up support within the Liberal caucus. So I think what this is doing, the fact that we're hearing news stories about this, is the narrative is turning now. It's moved away from Justin Trudeau saying that he is going to lead the party into the next election to now people openly, kind of having conversations about replacing him. And who should potentially become the Liberal leader. That's a very different conversation than we were having a month ago.
Okay, so to that point then, what's your gut telling you in terms of when we might hear an answer from Trudeau?
Well, it's, in politics, it's very hard to be able to predict anything. And again, I will repeat my comments about how Justin Trudeau is a very clever operator. But I think, he would have to realize that the gig is up. He is no longer going to be prime minister at some point in 2025. The question is when. And so to what extent does he want to string this out? Are there going to be constant stream of all sorts of things kind of falling apart around him? Or does he try to control the narrative and find some way forward that gives him some breathing room? So my sense is that he will try to stay on as leader as long as he possibly can. But nobody wants to be leader or has any legitimacy to be able to move forward if everybody around them, particularly in their caucus, is saying that it's time to go.
All right, Alex. Well, it is a lot to watch for.
I think a lot of the Liberals want Freeland to run versus Justin Trudeau. And to be honest, she might actually do better in the polling than Justin Trudeau. But you and me, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but at least for myself, I want to see Trudeau go down with the ship. I want to see him get voted off of the island. I want to see a catastrophic loss for the Liberals and a sweeping majority victory for the Conservatives at the next election. And there's just so much chaos right now that nobody knows what is going to happen. I mean, Trudeau can still theoretically prorogue government, and the Liberals can remove Trudeau, or not even the Liberals, it'd be the board of directors for the Liberal Party, can theoretically remove Trudeau from leadership and put in an interim leader like Chrystia Freeland, and then resume a fall 2025 October election. That is a possibility. But we're going to have to wait and see how this plays out. I mean, they can also remove Justin Trudeau in the coming weeks and place an interim leader like Freeland, and the board of directors is who I'm talking about. And then we could still see an election in the first few months of 2025. So there's a lot of things up in the air. But now that we know that Freeland has been going behind Justin Trudeau's back and talking to Liberal MPs, what do you make of this? What do you think that means? What do you think that she's even talking about? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. This is the end of the video, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. On your way out, if you haven't yet already, I'd like to encourage you guys to hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.